What's going on, everybody? Kenny Bomb is in the building, and we haven't gotten a UFC game from EA in a long time. August of 2020 to be exact. That's almost 3 years. But that may not be a bad thing, because while EA UFC 4 was good, there was definitely room for improvement. So with this extra time, what updates could they have made to UFC 5? We should be getting this announcement soon, so let's talk about it. But first, don't forget to drop a like on this video, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Let's get into it.
Run, boy, they coming on.
While not much has been officially confirmed, there's been a lot of rumors flying around about EA UFC 5. One interesting rumor says that EA Canada was working on a Fight Night reboot, but EA made them put that to the side because they wanted all hands on deck for UFC 5. Now, that opens up the door for another one of these pretty big rumors to be true. It's being reported that they're completely rebuilding the engine. Not only are they rebuilding the engine, they're taking us back to the glory days, because it's being said that the ground and pound will play like it did in UFC Undisputed 3. Now, when it comes to the EA UFC games, I will say this: the graphics in these games are always phenomenal. You think back to the graphics in EA UFC 1, up until that point, we have never had an MMA game that looked that good. Now, they did kind of take their foot off the gas with UFC 4, because while that game still did look good, it did not look as great as the others. Now, that's one thing I can almost guarantee will not be repeated with UFC 5. If you think back to when they released their first UFC game, it was in 2014. We were still early in the Xbox One and PS4 days, so around that time, a lot of companies were releasing their games on Xbox 360, PS3, Xbox One, and PS4. Just like we see happening today, this holds the games back where they don't look as good as they could if they were only released on a stronger platform. Being that EA was willing to make that sacrifice during the last generation, I wouldn't be surprised if EA UFC 5 was only released on Xbox Series X and PS5 so they can maximize that graphical capability to give us an MMA game like we've never seen before. But graphics are only one part of it, and that's not the most important part. One issue I've always had with the EA UFC games is while they look great, they never played as good as the UFC Undisputed games. The Undisputed games were nearly flawless from the stand-up, the ground game, knockouts, even the TKOs. You could actually follow through and keep punching them as they fall down. I mean, yes, it's brutal, but it's UFC. It happens every week. But it is good to hear that they are rebuilding the engine, presumably for these next-gen platforms, and they're going back, taking a look at those Undisputed games. Hopefully they can take what worked from Undisputed, take what works from EA UFC, mesh them together, and just give us a perfect MMA game. Another thing I would love to see them work on is the career mode. The career mode in UFC 4 works kind of just like an MMA career. I mean, you know, it's kind of bare bones. You get your cards, you get your rivals, but it's not really much in there as far as story. In UFC 5, I want to see a full-blown story mode. Think about the story we got in Fight Night, one of the best stories in any game. If they can put a story in NBA 2K, I don't see why we can't get one in UFC. It'd be easy. Start us off as a rookie, working our way up to the UFC, running through different trials and tribulations to get there. I mean, I would also want to see them give us an option to make weight or not. Like, you know, give us some things we can do to manage our weight. If we miss the weight, we deal with the consequences. I'm sure they can figure it out. I just want a deeper career mode instead of them just throwing us in there, giving us a few tutorials saying, do this, now do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. It's just too repetitive, and honestly, I never finish it. But a few weeks ago, DC did say he was in Las Vegas working on commentary for this game, which means they're getting close to wrapping things up. I fully expect to get this announcement before we hit that 3-year mark in August. If I had to make a prediction, I would say we get it around Fight Week in July. Let me know what y'all think about it and what y'all want from UFC 5. Thank y'all for tuning into this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and never forget, don't run from any battle. Conquer all of them.